Brandon Love Sports TV. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, the Lions Den basketball community. Well, in this case, just the Lions Den community. Man, I didn't I was trying to put the cameras on, so we good. You can't barely see me, but it's all good. So, let's talk about it. So, let's cut the camera off. There we go. So, last time I did this video, it got cut off because I was in a bad service area. It ended up only being like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which really stunk. Wrestle Chop, I'm going to give you the rest of them. So here we go. Now, let me recap the first two, the top two. The GOAT, Bobby the Brain Heenan, co-GOAT, Paul Heyman. Bobby the Brain Heenan is the most electrifying. I sound like I'm talking about The Rock. But he really was. Like, all the way down to his costumes, the colors that he wore, his hair, that white hair, even him being a little bit overweight. He just had a presence. And his mic skills, like he knew how to talk. I mean, he could cut you down so bad. Like, when him and Bobby Heenan, back when him and Andre the Giant, back when Andre the Giant was a good guy, Bobby Heenan some of the stuff he would say about Andre the Giant was just foul, man. I mean, he would just make Andre the Giant seem like the biggest idiot on the planet. Like, he had an IQ of 1.2. And then, this stuff he would say about Hulk Hogan, you humanoids, instead of Hulkamaniacs, you guys are humanoids, and just all that stuff. Like, this dude despised Hulk Hogan so bad that he aligned himself with Andre the Giant. Like, he hated Hogan so bad that he was willing to even have another guy who he hated, but not as bad as Hulk Hogan. Bobby Heenan just know how to put himself as the antithesis of everything that Hulk Hogan stood for. Hulk Hogan was a good guy, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, all that stuff. Bobby Heenan had a whole stable, the Heenan family, to take down Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. He had Big John Studs, what's his name? Big fat dude, bald-headed guy, King Kong Bundy, all of those guys on his, eventually Ravishing Rick Rude, and then, Andre the Giant when he turned heel, and all those guys, all to take down Hulkamania. And he never did. He was never able to accomplish his goal. And, but at the same time, Bobby Heenan just could do so much. Like, he was a weasel. They call him the weasel because he really was. He knew how to weasel his way out of anything. He knew how to run and hide from danger and all that stuff. He was the greatest when it came to being a heel, everything a heel embodies. So, real quick recap into doing those top two. Number two by far is Uncle Paul. Paul Heyman. Like I said, I've been watching Paul Heyman longer than I've been watching Bobby the Brain Heenan. Like, my earliest memories of Paul Heyman is like 1986, man, 86, 87. When he was back in Memphis wrestling, when he was Paulie Dangerously, and he had the Dangerous Alliance with Austin Idol and Tommy Rich and all those guys, man. I remember when they took Jerry the King Lawler, slammed his nuts up against the ring post, man. Just all the things, all the tactics, the heel tactics, and just things that he would do even back then. And I said this on another one of my videos. Some of y'all that's young, y'all only remember Attitude Era Paul Heyman. Y'all remember the late ECW Paul Heyman. Y'all remember Fat Paul, Fat Bald Paul. But let me tell you about 21-year-old Paul Heyman, from the age of 21 to about 31, when he used to be in as good a shape as the wrestlers was in. Paul Heyman his height is deceiving. If you look at him standing up next to he's as tall, if not taller than Braun Breaker. Just look at him standing up next to those guys. Now, he's about 60 years old, so he may have lost an inch or two off his height. But when I used to watch Paul Heyman was about 6'2". He's about 6'2". At his tallest, he's about 6'2". And he was thin. He had that long Brutus the Barber beefcake mullet. You know what I'm saying? Like Shawn Michaels hairstyle, Ravishing Rick Rude. And like, he always for one, he always managed the most elite guys. And you think he's just now being able to get people over. When he was that young, he could get anybody over. I mean, this dude was wise beyond his years. Like, you would think Paul Heyman had been in the wrestling business for about 30 years. But he really was just young. That, like, when I look back and see how young Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman were, they was boys, man. Like, Paul Heyman in Memphis wrestling and WCW in the early years, man, Paul Heyman was like 24, 25. By the time he got to that, when he was in Memphis, he was like 20, 21, something like that. And he could talk smack. But what made Paul Heyman so dangerous, literally like the Dangerous Alliance, like Paulie Dangerously, is the fact, what's going on? Salute, man. I see you, Russ. I see you, man. Was that Russell? No, that's Russell, yeah. Paul Heyman was just a dangerous dude, man, because he could physically hurt you back then. Like now he could talk smack. He still could talk trash. He could start a fire and then run from the fire. But the young Paul Heyman, man, Paul Heyman was a dangerous guy, man. Like, he hit you with that telephone, man, bust your head wide open, split your wig, kick you. I mean, he could do all this stuff because he was a big dude. Like I said, he was like 6'2", 6'3", something like that, and weighed about 200 pounds, man, and nothing but solid muscle, man. Paul Heyman, well, he was a force to be reckoned with, dude. I don't know why he never became a wrestler, because he had that look, man. He was Paul Heyman. I'm not saying that he was like tough like the wrestlers that he went up against, but if he got you down in a compromise, he ain't gonna fight like a man, like in a fair fight. But you let him get you down, like when you outside the ring, and like he's standing out there, he got that set. He ain't gonna do like he do now, where he'll just keep talking and just run over to the other side. Paul Heyman would kick you. I mean, he'd split your head open, hit you with that phone. All the stuff he would do was just, because I'm gonna talk about Jimmy Hart, who's my number 3, who really, Paul Heyman really is like a combination. He's a hybrid of mostly Jimmy Hart, but a little bit of Bobby Heenan in there, you know what I'm saying? And he was just tough, man. Paul Heyman. And then not only that, Paul Heyman was a businessman too. Like, he thought outside the ring. That's what gives him a little bit of an edge on Bobby Heenan, even though I got Bobby Heenan as the GOAT. But Bobby Heenan never tried to start his own promotion. Paul Heyman was an actual manager outside the ring. It wasn't a gimmick. Like, he literally was managing the wrestlers. Like, he knew how to mentor them, how to mold them, shape them, develop them. All that. Everybody who ever worked with Paul Heyman, they became better because of him, because he's unselfish. Like what he's doing with Braun Breaker right now, man, he's making a legend out of that dude. It's legendary. But watch when Braun Breaker finally goes off on his own and becomes one of the top baby faces in the business, man, and hits that run where he's just like knocking everybody down, becoming a version of Bill Goldberg that actually can wrestle. Let me get started on Bill Goldberg, Bill Clownberg. But Paul Heyman is making a monster out of him. Look at Roman Reigns now. Roman Reigns was already making money, but now, he went from making good money to just like ridiculous money now. Like, Roman Reigns is like top billing, top dollar, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Where he almost was about like the industry was about ready. They were about ready to get rid of Roman Reigns. Like, literally, Vince McMahon did everything he could to get this dude over. But when Paul Heyman got his hands on him, man, Paul Heyman he's special, man. He got that Midas touch, man. So I could do a whole video about Paul Heyman, but those are my 2 recap. Number 3 is the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart just brilliant, man. And not only in wrestling, but in music. Me as a musician, I can respect. Like, I found that he wrote like a lot of them hit songs, like Shawn Michaels, Boy Toy, all that stuff, man. All them hits that you heard in WWE, WWF at the time, Jimmy Hart wrote a lot of those songs. He could write jingles. He's from Memphis, so he was a musician. Came from that Elvis Presley kind of, that whole thing, that whole bit. He did all that. If I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Hart might be older than Elvis Presley, man. He may be about the same age as Elvis, though. But Jimmy Hart, just like the megaphone, he was so innovative, is that he would use that megaphone and be yelling and screaming with a megaphone. Like, who would think about something like that? And here's another thing y'all probably didn't catch. Jimmy Hart would dress like whatever wrestler he was representing. Like if he was out there with the Honky Tonk Man, he would wear the musical notes because Honky Tonk Man is supposed to be like a singer-songwriter, one of the music role Nashville songwriters, kind of with an Elvis Presley twist on it. And I'm gonna do a whole video too about how I believe that Wayne Ferris, the guy that played the character of Honky Tonk Man, actually stole Jerry Lawler's, even because Jerry Lawler is his cousin, so they look alike because they related too. But I think Jerry Lawler kind of let him have that Elvis Presley look because Jerry Lawler used to wear glasses like that. All that stuff. The way you see the Honky Tonk Man, how he would dress Jerry Lawler in the 70s, Jerry Lawler was dressing like that, like 1970, 71 and stuff. He had all of it with them shoes and stuff, all that stuff. He had the Elvis Presley look before that. And also Jerry Lawler used to kick it with Elvis Presley. He knew Elvis Presley though. But Jimmy Hart he created those characters, man. Like a lot of them guys got their swag from Jimmy Hart. Like Jimmy Hart was the first guy with that mullet. I think he originated that mullet, man. And look at these guys now. There would be no Paul. When I tell you Paul Heyman is the embodiment. This look at Paul Heyman in the 1980s. He was Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart would hit you with that megaphone, man. He would cheat. He was a snake in the grass, man. He was a conniving little snake, like a little worm, man. Like he was like, yeah, come on, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. So Jimmy Hart is number 3 for me on my list. Number 4 is when it starts getting a little tricky, but I gotta say, I'm gonna move to a different promotion. Could put James J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon from WCW, NWA Wrestling. He was the manager of the Four Horsemen. J.J. Dillon could talk he could talk so slick. Some of the stuff he would say, he'd come out there with Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, like the Four Horsemen would take turns. J.J. Dillon would always summarize everything they said. Like Ric Flair would always come out and cut his promo first. Or no, Arn Anderson would come out. Say what he had to say. Barry Windham didn't really, because he wasn't a great talker. He was good in the ring. Tully Blanchard was a great talker too. So you have either Tully Blanchard or Arn Anderson go start, they kick it out first. Ric Flair would always be the last one to go because he was so good. And James J. Dillon would summarize everything. He was just so slick the way he would say stuff. And then finally, Ric Flair would say, and if you like it, don't like it, learn to love it, because it's the best thing going today. Woo! So they would close like that, but J.J. Dillon's how they say it. He would come up with all these little sayings they say that one too many times when you try a trick, on that 5th time, it doesn't work. Just little stuff like that. Little quirky little sayings and stuff he would say that only J.J. Dillon knew how to put over and stuff like that. And J.J. Dillon was another guy who was tall like that. J.J. Dillon might be 6'4", man. Because he was as tall, if not, I know he was tall. J.J. Dillon was taller than everybody in the Four Horsemen. He was 6'3", 6'4". Maybe he was 6'5", man. And he come out there and he was slick. And then he could pull his shoe off. He'd hit you with the shoe, split your head open, split your wig open, man. He couldn't wrestle, but he could get in a fight. J.J. Dillon, that's how Paul Heyman was back in the day. He wasn't a wrestler, but he could fight though. They got to get in the ring and get some kicks in and stuff like that. They was tit for tat. J.J. Dillon back in them days, and Paul Heyman was a kind of stank. So J.J. Dillon had the mouth, just like Jimmy Hart. He could talk, but then also he could get physical with you, and he was so slick with them words, man. So James J. Dillon is definitely number 3. Number 4. Number 5 is Paul Bearer. I got Paul Bearer at number 5. Hulk Hogan, the Undertaker will destroy you. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Undertaker's first match he ever wrestled. Now, I'm talking about all the way back in first class, first class. I'm talking about world class championship wrestling back in the 80s. Because I remember watching world class, Kerry Von Erich and all them. David Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, so many Von Erichs, man. I'm like, dude, I know I'm bound to miss one of them. David, Kevin, all of them dead. Every one of them dead, man. I think Yeah, I think they all died. I think every one of them did, man. Every last one of them. But those guys, and then like they were like the good guys, the heroes, and then like you had Percival Pringle, who really is Paul Bearer, but with like kind of whitish hair back then, who was kind of being more of a Bobby Heenan kind of a look, but he always was still kind of had that. He was kind of Paul Bearer back then, but just wasn't in the gimmick yet. But he kind of already had that thing, because he says that he got his. I think he got his look from from Bobby Heenan, but Paul Bearer is a Southern dude from like Mobile, Alabama, though. So he had that like that Southern accent and all that kind of stuff, man. He was just smooth, man. Like the Undertaker's very first match is Mean Mark Callis. If you go back to watch that in World Class Championship Wrestling. His manager was Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer had even before, in World Class, he was managing Mick Foley. Mick Foley man, he's old as dirt, dude. Mick Foley was around back then in World Class Championship Wrestling, and he was being managed by him. And then like everything really kicked for him when he actually became Paul Bearer. Now I'll say this. The Undertaker was already becoming a star when Bruce Pritchard was his manager, when he was like playing that Brother Love, I love you. But like it still wasn't, it didn't really pop. What's going on, man? I was what? Oh yeah, I was a kid too, man. When all this stuff was going on, man, when the Undertaker came to WWF, I think I was like 10 years old, man. And like, but like it didn't really click till the Undertaker got with Paul Bearer, man. Once Paul Bearer got with the Undertaker, it's like that was magical, like just right. Hulk Hogan, the Undertaker will destroy you. And then when Kane joined and he turned on the Undertaker, Undertaker, Kane will destroy you. Like all of that, man. He just like, Paul Bearer was just that. But I almost put him in that vein with Paul Heyman, man. Like that, where he was magical. Paul Bearer, like he had like magical powers, man. Like the way he would play with that urn, where he was laying and make the Undertaker stand up when he unscrewed that urn, and like he had all the tricks, that came along. He knew how to play that character so well, man. Like he took that character really seriously. All right, so that's number 5. Number 6, Mr. Fuji. I got Mr. Fuji at number 6. Japanese manager. And then there was another guy named Tojo Yamamoto that was kind of in the independents back then. And those other promotions that wasn't big like that. The WWE was kind of like I don't know who came out first. I don't know if Mr. Fuji or Tojo Yamamoto. But sometimes it's hard to talk about Mr. Fuji without talking about Tojo Yamamoto. Because Tojo Yamamoto, he had that kendo stick. Yes. But but Mr. Fuji just like he would manage guys like Yokozuna. Then I think at one time he had the Iron Sheik. He was smooth. He was a smooth guy, man. Like he would bring in those foreign guys, and he was just so good. He was kind of like, honestly, I almost kind of think he was kind of tongue-in-cheek Mr. Miyagi, man. I think he was kind of making. I don't know if he was he out before the Karate Kid? I don't think he was. I think Mr. Fuji came on the scene like 1987, 88, somewhere in there. Tojo Yamamoto was before that though. But Mr. Fuji was like Mr. Miyagi, but like a heel Mr. Miyagi, like he was just like he was real conniving, real slick, smooth, cheat. I don't remember what Mr. Fuji used to hit people with. But I just know that he'd be like Yokozuna, he brought him out, Rikishi and all them, he used to manage all them. Went back when Rikishi was like Samu and Fatu and the head shrinkers, all that stuff. And I almost want to believe he had the Islanders, Haku and Tama too, I believe. He was just so good. And he was smooth. He was good on the mic, and he had the accent. And yes, when he comes over here, he had that evil laugh. He had that little He always wore that little fedora thing with that little cane and stuff. I think he used to be with that stick. I know Tojo Yamamoto had the kendo stick, but I almost believe that Mr. Fuji would hit people with that cane. Somebody post this in the comment section. I can't remember what he used to use. Mr. Fuji used to use items and stuff like that. Yeah, he was a good manager. He was one of the greatest of all time. Okay, so now I can't say Classy Freddie. I will say Classy Freddie Blassie at number 7. I was gonna say I can't say Blue Albano because he was mostly a babyface. But and I can't say. I think I'll put Paul Ellering in there at number 8 because Paul Ellering was a heel for a little bit, little short time stint he was. But no, so who the hell was I on? I'm kind of tired, a little sleepy. Paul Ellering. I'll hit Paul Ellering, then I'll remember. I'll go back on. Classy Freddie Blassie. That's him. Classy Fred Blassie was a guy. He was a little bit before my time, but he was smooth, man. He was like one of those guys that he was a kind of a charmer, but kind of like a grumpy old man at the same time. Like he dressed real clean. He always like a guy, like somebody's grandfather that was like really rich and go out there like playing golf and stuff. And that's what he was. Like he was like classy Freddie Blassie. Like he had class and stuff like that, but he really didn't have class. But he was like making you believe he had class. Like one of them kind of guys. He was like real slick. Now, you know what? Before I get to Paul Ellering, let me put in Sherry Martel. Sensational Sherry Martel at number 8. I can't. It's so much. I got to do my own video on Sherry Martel. I love me some sensational Sherry because Sherry was unique because she could wrestle good and she was like real catty. She could wrestle and she was a manager. She had that real catty style. Like, now let me say this: Sherry Martel is about the closest thing you're gonna get to Paul Heyman, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because what makes Paul Heyman so special is the way that he could make you make more money. Paul Heyman he equals dollar sign. Paul Heyman is Hollywood. He's Showtime, Vegas, all that stuff, man. Because everything he touches turns to gold. Sherry Martel's the same way. Like she took Shawn Michaels and made him a star. Took Harlem Heat. Like nobody knew who Booker T was, man. And like she just was so good with them. And the crazy thing about it was in World Class Championship Wrestling or AWA, she was like the complete opposite of because I used to love Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, the Midnight Rockers before they became the Rockers in WWF. See, a lot of y'all don't remember when they used to have them matches with Buddy Rose and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name. Them big old fat dudes trying to look like they really was trying to be like Dusty Rhodes.